Hey folks, MasakoX here. This holiday miracle tells of a captivating story centered around Shenron, traditionally known as the Eternal Dragon in the Dragon Ball universe, who finds himself in a human-like form for this holiday miracle. Struggling with his new limitations and a fear of time passing, Shenron grapples with his identity and the heavy responsibility laid upon him by Kami, his master, the Guardian of Earth. Tasked with watching over Goku and acting against Piccolo if necessary, Shenron, under the alias Shen Lang, trains with Goku and interacts awkwardly yet humorously with Goku's friends, who are completely unaware of his true identity. Despite his transformation, Shenron remains connected to his past responsibilities and powers, as we saw starting to brew in the last part. He frequently visits Goku and Chi-Chi's home, learning about human emotions and the subtleties of life, including Chi-Chi's pregnancy, which he promises to keep secret. Meanwhile, he keeps a watchful eye on Piccolo, expecting him to seek revenge right from the get-go and destroy the world or take over it. However, upon confronting Piccolo, Shenron is surprised to find him relatively peaceful, meditating, and casually training. Their encounter reveals Piccolo's awareness of Shenron's true identity and his intention to focus on defeating Goku, not causing widespread harm. This revelation prompts Shenron to commit to better understanding humanity. His bond with Goku and Chi-Chi deepens, especially during the birth of their child. Years later, a new crisis emerges when Gohan goes missing, and Shenron and Goku sense negative energy, suspecting Piccolo's involvement. However, they learn it's not Piccolo behind this, but others who are responsible. He will realize what happens when the Dragon Balls are used against his will. It had become clear that the attackers had left with the Dragon Ball, since Shenron had noticed that the 4-star Dragon Ball atop Gohan's discarded hat was gone, leaving just that and a very, very somber household. The Dragon Man hadn't thought about what would happen had somebody tried to wish upon these orbs whilst in this form. It hadn't happened since he had become human. Would it work? What could happen? Could he prevent it? Could he refuse the wish? These were questions that were whirling around his head on the journey to follow the key from Gohan, which was getting progressively harder to pinpoint. But they kept trying. However, the Dragon Man was starting to, as they were getting closer to the den of the beast, wondering and worrying who this could be. It was a sensation he was starting to feel that felt very familiar, thanks to his connection with Kami. He couldn't quite place it, but he had an inkling that this person was someone that the Guardian had come across before, or, at the very least, a descendant of someone he had met before. Sure enough, it was. Garlic Jr., whoever he is, was gazing upon the impish child that was Gohan, who was crying non-stop, demanding that they give back the Dragon Ball that they stole from him, or else his father would come and his big burly dragon friend behind him.
Dragon friend? Pish! Dragons don't exist in the mortal realm. You must mean a dinosaur friend.
Gohan shifted nervously.
Icarus isn't big or burly. I'm telling you, he'll be sorry.
And who might your father be?
Son Goku!
Shouted the kid tempestuously. Immediately, the Zenny dropped, and Garlic Jr. looked to his minions and grimaced.
Are you telling me that you brought the child of Son Goku to my castle? Seriously? Did you not think to just take the ball and leave the kid behind?
The minions nervously looked at one another. Nikki spoke.
We thought it might be a sign of dominance once you crush that fool with the powers that you will gather from said orbs. Yes, it was our plan.
The others nodded in agreement, desperate to get some good grace, but Garlic listened.
I've trained you well to pander toward me. You are lucky this was the last orb we were after, and he has no time to counter. Now, hurry up and gather the other ones from the meatery.
The mooks did so, and soon enough, the wish was ready to be called for.
Rise, eternal dragon!
Shouted Garlic, excited to have immortality bestowed upon him that very moment. About that, miles away, Shenron felt a burning hot sensation in his chest. It wasn't pleasant. He let out a roar of pain and collapsed to the ground. Them having approached a dark wood, Goku whipped around and looked shocked at his friend's agony.
Huh? What's wrong, buddy? What's going on?
I don't know. It's like my insides are burning.
Shenron continued to grimace and writhe. Goku tried to pull out a senzu bean he had kept for emergencies. Maybe that would help.
Here, eat this.
Shenron was about to take it when he remembered what the sensation was. It was changing from a simple pain to a pulling action. Oh, he remembered what that was. This was the same experience that he would have when somebody was trying to summon him, about to wish for something on the Dragon Balls. Yeah, he was being summoned. Yep, definitely. It didn't hurt when he was a non-corporeal dragon sleeping in non-time, but here, in the physical realm, in this human form, it was unbearable. What was Kami thinking? Would he experience this every time somebody would ask for a wish? He had been lucky the orbs were not on people's radar up until now, especially Bulma, who, as he could tell, had selfish desires and brought them to light of his friends in the first place.
Goku, take my hand. I can't hold on.
Goku did so.
What, Shenron? What's happening?
Somebody is using the Dragon Balls. They're summoning me. I think I know where Gohan might scrap.
Without another word, Shenron couldn't hold on any longer to his human form, and the pair, when Goku grabbed his hand, or whatever it became, was suddenly whisked away at lightning speed, Shenron's body metamorphosing into the dragon-shaped being that Goku had known for so long. Goku was being pulled at a pace he had never experienced before, and then he was about to be sick from how fast he was traveling. Oh, you better get used to that, mate. Seconds later, he let go and span ferociously into the side of what was a castle, a streak of yellow lightning soaring overhead into the center of the abode. Goku painfully extricated himself from the wall and gathered his bearings. So, this was where Gohan was. Yes, he could feel his son's ki clearer than he had in hours, but there was no time to lose. He had to stop the wish from being granted, to save his friend. Speaking of, Garlic Jr. finally saw the ball of light above, transfiguring itself into the shape of the eternal dragon. But for a split second, it kind of looked like a man? That was weird. He didn't recall any stories about the legendary man before, but no matter. Shenron was here, and he was about to grant him his wish.
You have summoned the eternal dragon. State your wish.
Had this dragon gotten out the wrong side of the bed this morning? It sounded like he was grudgingly resisting his directive, or having an aneurysm, or something?
Eternal dragon, I wish you to grant me immortality, so that my plan to rule this world shall be complete, and my tyranny shall be unbound by the laws of time.
Shenron was silent. No words, no glowing eyes, nothing.
Dragon, did you hear me? I wish for immortality. Please, did I say it correctly?
I can not grant this wish.
What? Why can't you grant my wish? I have done my research, Dragon, and there is nothing in the legend saying that immortality is forbidden. I know what I'm talking about.
I do not wish to.
Garlic was getting weirded out by this thing. This was definitely not supposed to happen. A corrupt Shenron. He clenched his teeth and roared as loud as his lungs could bellow.
Dragon! I order you to make me live forever! I shall not be bossed around by a thing that is meant to bow down before its summoner. Now, make me immortal!
Shenron contorted, trying to resist its base instinct, but he couldn't hold on anymore. Flatly, he spoke as his eyes glowed.
Your wish has been granted.
Instantly, Garlic could feel his body changing, renewing itself constantly. He had done it. He was now immortal. The dragon said nothing as its body glowed white and the Dragon Balls scattered across the world, not to be summoned on again for a whole year. But what would happen to Shenron's body? Would he be dormant for a whole year? Questions for later. But seconds later, Goku whipped around the corner of the quadrant and saw his son, asleep on the throne, having cried himself to sleep.
Shenron!
Garlic laughed.
You are too late, Son Goku. You have failed to prevent the dragon from making me, Garlic Jr., immortal. Now, bow down before me, and I may give you back your son, so that you may both obey my every command.
Before Goku could ask who he was, having no clue, a familiar figure appeared before him. It wasn't Shenron, but it was Kami.
Goku, I came as quickly as I could. This is not a person you should be trifling with alone.
Garlic put on a sour expression.
You.
Kami then explained to Goku who this little imp was. This was the son of the monster that Kami had beaten to the post of becoming the Guardian of Earth many moons ago. In response, Garlic Sr. wrought fear and devastation upon the planet. Only Kami could purge it, as well as using the powers for good against him.
I am sorry that I was not able to prevent the wish being summoned. Where is his human form?
He asked Goku. Goku shrugged.
Well, I don't know. He glowed, dragged me here, and then nothing. Can't sense him anywhere near here.
Kami concentrated to sense where he wound up, but before he could do that, Garlic had grown bored of this distraction and began to attack the pair in his bulked up form. Now, speaking of Shenron, he had wound up back in his human form again, still conscious, but dazed and confused, nowhere near Goku and the castle, where he had granted their enemy immortality. He had effectively betrayed his friends. He couldn't stop the wish from being made. He then curled up into a ball and wept. What kind of freak was he? All that Kami had done was made him aware of the horrific power that he held and how it could be abused by mortal beings. By making him a mortal-like being, he was now also aware of the feelings of guilt and regret that came with this condition. He couldn't stop the tears, as they then changed from tears of sorrow to tears of anger. What was the point of all of this? The point of everything? Kami, he hadn't done this out of mercy. He had been selfish. He wanted company. He wanted to control the Dragon Balls more directly. He wanted to control his own creation in a softer, fleshier form. He punched a nearby tree and roared with anger.
What did that tree do to you?
Said a familiar voice. Shenron whipped around and saw the last person he wanted to see right now. Piccolo.
Now's not the time for banter such as this, Piccolo. I have done a terrible thing. What? Doing your job? I sensed it happen. Kami and I's bond, remember?
He tapped his head.
I knew this would happen. Not nice, huh? Being subservient to someone? Powerless to resist? Starting to regret being human?
Shenron wanted to lamp this scum in the face so badly right now, but he wasn't wrong. But he also didn't want to admit that.
I am so confused right now. What is my purpose?
Piccolo smirked.
To not leave me alone. Make sure I'm a good boy.
Shenron looked to him confusedly.
What? Listen, we may not be friends, but right now we have a common goal. To stop whatever that is trying to usurp my righteous claim to the planet. You want to make up for your failure? Well, You can start by fighting back with everything you've got.
Piccolo offered him a hand up, which Shenron surprisingly took. He had plenty of questions for Kami later, but right now, Piccolo was talking sense. He couldn't stay and wallow in self-pity here. He had to use his current form and fight for Earth. At once, both of them flew off at breakneck speed toward the castle to aid Kami and Goku in the quest in stopping Garlic Jr. The story of the Dead Zone then proceeds as it does in the original, because the beings here are stronger than the original, but is still not powerful enough to stop Garlic because, well, he's immortal. He can just keep on coming constantly. Stop it. Sure enough, Garlic opens up the Dead Zone and attempts to suck everything. Stop it! Starting with these fools that oppose his right to rule. However, he still couldn't factor in the presence of Gohan. Nobody expected the child to be so ensconced with rage like that. That power boost was astonishing and was enough to push Garlic Jr. off his feet and send him hurling into the Dead Zone, closing it afterward, negating it, thusly preventing the planet from being subject to his ire. They had done it. Shenron had fought valiantly alongside Goku, Kami, and even Piccolo, and, Gohan seemingly. But that still didn't make up for the fact that his wish-granting powers had put the world in jeopardy. He couldn't resist the wish. He tried, his original purpose clashing with his current iteration. Shenron wanted to thank Piccolo for his pep talk, but he had disappeared as soon as the sky had reverted back to its normal blue, and all seemed well. Shame. He had been so untrusting of that creature, but he had been the one to show him the light, despite his dark origins. Some clarity when he had been so clouded in judgment. Piccolo had answers, whereas Kami had nothing but questions surrounding him. When Goku and Gohan were ready to head for home, Shenron bade them farewell, saying that he and Kami had important matters to attend to up on the lookout, which Goku paid no mind because, he knew who they were. Keen to get his son home too and reassure Chi-Chi. When they were gone, Shenron turned to Kami with an ashened face.
We need to talk.
Kami knew what the subject was about.
Shenron, I understand that you may feel not here.
He pointed to the lookout.
There.
Without another word, he flew toward it, with Kami following behind him at a distance, unsure and nervous as to what to expect from this seething dragon. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.